Alright, this is a Poulan Electric chainsaw that goes on the end of the pole. It's a pole saw, it's a chainsaw, it's all of that. This is a fantastic 10-inch saw. I like it a lot. We're going to show you how to get into this thing. First thing you do is take these two screws out. As soon as you got your cover removed, you're going to want to loosen up this screw a little bit. You don't have to take it out, just loosen it up a little bit. And then get your 11-inch socket and crack these loose. Now before you take these nuts completely off, keep in mind that under here, right, see that right there? See, it's already wanting to fall out. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna fall out. So what I do is I flip it upside down and towards me and hold on to that. Now something else you're going to want to do before you lose all your stuff here. You see that adjustment screw? You're going to want to turn that screw so that it loosens up the bar. See that little pin right there? You're going to want that to stay in its spot. So you're going to want to do that. If you let these things fall out, all of this is going to get loose and floppy and all that stuff. So there will be that. Now that you got all that loose, you don't have to take this off. You can just pull this bar up. You're going to lose those nuts, and they can be a pain in the ass to put back in. So I'm not doing it with two hands, but you do that. Change the chain, put your chain back on. Now you can see what happened. Hold on. Now you can see that my chain tensioner is not in its hole. So what you want to do is you want to get a hold of this and you want to loosen it up. Let's get a screwdriver on there and loosen it up, because usually when people are switching out their chain, it's because it's super wore out, which means it's gonna have play in it. Now you see that right there, how that popped right up in there. You can see the little piece of metal that's on your adjuster clip right there. You can see that is inside the hole, centered up like it should be. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten these down a little bit, just so my bar can't move around. We're going to tighten that screw back up a little bit. Ooh, if we can see to get it in there. There we go. We'll tighten these up. Not tight, but just to where everything is flush and sits properly. There we go. There we go. Now, keep in mind that these will fall out on you if you are outside working on this. These two bolts and that piece that goes in there is what holds this handle. This thing is all floppy and loose and comes off, and it can be really, really frustrating because Poulan has a shit design for that section right there. There's no need for that, any of that to be like that, but that's how they got it. So, we're going to go here. We're going to make sure that everything is just tightened down enough to where we can adjust our chain to where it goes. See, that is too loose. If your tooth can come out, I assure you it will. I know that manufacturers recommend that you leave it loose like that. This is about how tight they recommend, but as you can see, that tooth can pop all the way out. Actually, 2 or 3 of them can, and this is about where they say to keep the tension. Not me. So hold on. You get over here with your screwdriver, you tighten this up until it gets to the tension that you want it to be. I keep mine far tighter than they say to, because if you can pull one tooth out, trust me, when you're using this thing, it's gonna come out. That's how it works. See that? Where it has just a little bit of play but none of the teeth can come out? That is where I keep my chainsaws. And my blades don't fly off and cut my body parts off. Next thing you want to do is get all of this tightened down. I use, as you can see, one of these little T-handle things because I work on bikes and shit all the time. So you want to just get these tight. You are not trying to tighten it like King Kong. You are trying to get them seated. Your pin is right there where it's supposed to be, holding your blade tension. And then you want to make sure that you finish off by tightening this up just to where it is properly seated. Do not over tighten anything. There's a lot of plastic in these things, and you don't want to ruin them. You don't want to ruin them, because this saw has been running fantastic for years. I've cut ginormous oak trees. I trimmed all of these giant trees on a 25-foot lift with that saw. The only time I used a different saw is when the only time I used a different saw was I had a Works electric saw, and I used it when the diameter was too big for this saw to get it, or if I was having to climb down to do it. So let me set these screws. Something I see happen all the time when people work on their chainsaw is they will put the saw on backwards, or the chain on backwards. Now, this is how you tell. See, this is your cutting tooth, okay? And this is your guide tooth. This right here needs to go that way. The top of the bar, and it goes that way. So you always want your cutting tooth. You can see up here how it points that way. So just think about this. Look at the shape of your finger. You want that to be cutting that way. If you put it on the other way, it's not going to work. It's not going to cut shit. So there you go. That is as quick as I could how you swap out that. Make sure you put some good training fluid in there or use transmission fluid, frankly, is what I use most of the time for your bar oil. That's what I recommend, is transmission fluid. Use transmission fluid, new transmission fluid, whatever. It keeps your shit from rusting, keeps it lubed up. And if you're cutting things with sap in them, which almost all trees have sap, that will absolutely save you so much hassle and cleaning, and it'll keep it from getting all gummed up and sticky. This is a, I think, 10-year-old saw. That's only the third chain I've had to put on it in 10 years, and I have cut a shitload of stuff with it. So thank you very much. Y'all have an awesome day, man. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching Miller's Custom Stuff. This is Nancy at Miller's Custom Stuff, and there's you a quick how-to on how to swap out a chain on your electric chainsaw. Peace.